Hi, my name's Corinne. I knit and crochet, and welcome back to week 2 of me posting every Friday through Halloween. So we're going to be making another pumpkin. The pumpkins are doing really well, and I kind of wanted to ride that wave. We've already made the checkered pumpkin, and this week we're going to make the Emeline pumpkin. It uses my Emeline stitch, so if you look up any of my other videos, last week was the Emeline hanging dishcloth, and it uses the same stitch as that, but we're going to do things a little differently. It's not the exact same pattern. Obviously, it's a pumpkin, not a dishcloth. But here is the pumpkin. I only am doing the one size for now, but I'm gonna work up some different sizing, I think, and write up an actual like PDF pattern. But for now, we'll have the small version, and I'll put it on the blog as well. What you'll be needing for this is some worsted weight yarn. I used Big Twist from Joann's, RIP. But hopefully Michael's will be getting Big Twist in. I don't know if they're gonna call it the same, it doesn't matter. But anyways, you need some worsted weight yarn. Red Heart Super Saver would work, or truly any worsted weight yarn. You just want it to be tight enough that you don't see the polyfill through. So along with the worsted weight yarn, we're going to need a 4mm hook, or a hook that meets gauge. I'll put gauge in the description. So 4mm hook, worsted weight yarn, some scissors to cut the yarn, tapestry needles for weaving in ends, as well as closing up the pumpkin and cinching the pumpkin. And then obviously you need some polyfill to stuff your pumpkin. And then you will need a pumpkin stem, which you can find these pumpkin stems in my shop. This was the first draft of this pumpkin, but I like this one turned out. I like this smaller version better. I think that's all we got. Continue to come back each Friday to see the different tutorials. I don't know what I'm doing next week, but it's fine. Will it be a shawl or a hat? Maybe you can help me decide. What should I post next week if you're seeing this before September 8th? Or what would you like to see in the coming weeks? Let me know. I have a backlog of patterns that I could post, or I'm coming up with new things always. I think that's all I got, so let's get to making this cute little Emeline pumpkin. So to begin, we're going to take our 4mm hook, we're going to take our yarn, and we're going to make a slip knot, put it on the hook, and then we're going to chain 17. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. We have 17 chains. We're going to twist it or turn it so that those back loops are showing. So you have the front of the chains, the back loops. We're going to crochet into the second chain, or that back loop right there. Second chain from hook. We're going to half double crochet into the second chain. And then we'll half double crochet across for a total of 16.
So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
We have 16 half double crochets. We're going to turn the work and chain 2. Now we're going to fork cluster in the first stitch only. So yarn over, insert into the first stitch, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over again and insert into that first stitch, pull up a loop. Now you have 5 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull through 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 3 loops. That's the forked cluster, but for the very first stitch. The next one, we're going to yarn over, insert into the second stitch, pull up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, insert into the following stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 3, yarn over, pull through 3. See how that forked cluster's worked across 2 stitches? That's what we're going to do across the rest of this row. Yarn over into the same stitch as the last leg, yarn over into the following stitch, yarn over into the same stitch as the last leg, and then yarn over, insert into the following stitch. Repeat the forked clusters all the way until the final stitch. All right, there's one stitch left. We're gonna make one more forked cluster starting in the previous stitch and ending in the final stitch. Complete the forked cluster, and then we'll add a double crochet into that last stitch as well. So now you should have 15 forked clusters and a double crochet.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and then there's the 16th stitch, the double crochet.
And then you will turn the work, chain 1, and half double crochet across. I'm at the end of row 3. Again, we turn and then chain 2 to start row 4, a forked cluster row. So the rest of this pattern is going to just be row 1, half double crochet, row 2, forked cluster, and then repeat that until you have 12 total rows of the half double crochet and 12 rows of the forked cluster. And here's what that will look like. So now that we've gone over row 1 and 2, it repeats 6 times. So row 1 and 2, 6 times, which means you'll have 12 half double crochets rows and 12 forked cluster rows. And then you'll have a piece that looks like this. And then this is where you'll stop and we'll begin to assemble it together. So now we have to crochet these two ends together. I have the right side facing me and I'm gonna fold it up. So now the wrong side is on the outside. I'm going to turn my work and I'm going to start to crochet this together. I'm going to slip stitch into the first stitch of that last row we worked on, and then I'm going to crochet into the front loop of the beginning edge. Slip stitch through both, pull it through, and you're going to do that across, going into the back loop of the last row, front loop of the beginning edge, and slip stitching it all the way across. And again, you could totally just cut the yarn and seam it together with a needle if that's your preferred method. That is up to you. It gets the job done no matter what. And then I like to, when we do the cinching part, we will put we'll put the yarn along this seam so you can't see it when it's done. Continue to just slip stitch all the way across and we'll meet at the end. All right, now we are at the end. I'm going to cut my yarn and I'm going to cut a long tail. I will finish that off. So currently the wrong side is out. We're gonna just flip it. So there's the seamed edge. Now we're gonna go around and we're going to seam around the forked cluster edges, skipping the half double crochets. I'm just going through the front to the back, around each forked cluster edge. And then when you're done with that, you will cinch it closed. And really the goal here is just to seam the top and the bottom so that you can cinch it closed. So if you have any other sort of method you prefer, go for it. It's your pumpkin. I've just found that this works for me. All right, we've reached the end, so I'm going to pull that and see how that cinches it closed. We're gonna pull that tail in. Now we're gonna cinch it closed. I'm gonna put the tail through the center. And then just to make this easy so we don't have to weave in any ends, I'm just gonna tie that tail from the beginning chain and the tail from the last row together to cinch it nice and tight. And then what's great about that is you can just put your tails on the inside, or you could cut that long tail to seam around the top of this. But I'm just going to use a different piece of yarn. So we have it cinched. There's the bottom, and then next we'll cut a piece of yarn. So we have a long piece of yarn. I'm going to once again thread this. And we'll do the same thing as the bottom, but we're not going to cinch it closed because we still need to stuff it. So again, I'm going to find I'll start with the seamed edge. I'm just gonna thread it through, leaving a tail. And then I'm gonna do the same thing around. I'm gonna insert into the edge stitch of the forked cluster rows, front to back, around every single one. All right, we're back to where we started. And we can just kind of pull that a little bit, see how that'll cinch. But we're gonna pause here and get our stuffing. To stuff, you're just gonna need your polyfill or fiber fill. You could use scrap yarn, you could use fabric, whatever you want. And you're just gonna insert it into the pumpkin. And you just wanna make sure it's kind of even. You don't want one spot more fluffed up than the other, unless that's what you want, you know? Again, your pumpkin. In my yoga and qigong classes, I always stress that it's your practice, and just like it being your practice, this is your craft. You can customize and make things how you want it. I think I'm gonna keep it there. I don't think I'm gonna add any more. So now, we're going to, once again, seam this shut, or cinch it shut, I mean. I'm gonna pull that. So we have the tail ends. I'm once again going to tie them together. And then it's okay if one size has a hole, because one, either this can be the bottom or this can be the top of it where you cover it with a pumpkin stem. All right, so we have this tail, and I think this tail is going to be long enough to cinch around it. So let's try. We're going to cinch around it 4 times. So I've threaded this long needle. We're going to go through the center to the other center. Pulling it through. Let's find that seam. It looks so good, I couldn't find it. You're gonna line this up with half double crochet rows. So we're gonna line it up with the seam where there is a half double crochet row. Insert it back through the center. And then we're gonna go 3 forked clusters. 1, 2, 3. Line it up with that half double crochet row. Insert it again through the centers. And then you'll want to pull it so you're cinching it and it's creating that indent. And not only that, it pulls these together too, which makes it, I don't know, cool. Okay, we're gonna count another 3. 1, 2, 3 forked clusters, line it up with that half double crochet row. Go through the center again, pull it so you're cinching it. And then one more time, 1, 2, 3, line it up with that half double crochet row, insert the center to the other side, cinch it. And then we have those 4 different sections to make it look more like a real pumpkin. And then I'm at the bottom. I'm just gonna sew around a random stitch that's close to the center, and I'm gonna bring it back out the top, and then maybe thread it around another close stitch that's close to the center. That should be good. And then you can just kind of weave in the ends as you would any other kind of amigurumi. I'm gonna cut it there. Now for the final step. So my husband's currently 3D printing a new stem that is black, and we've already put together the pumpkin and seamed and all that good stuff. So I'm gonna wait to see what that stem looks like, and then we can do it. But while I'm waiting, do you wanna help me choose maybe what the next video is going to be? There's a couple things we could do. We could stick with this Emeline stitch, because I have 2 things that are going on with the Emeline stitch that I haven't released yet. One, I'm working on the Emeline pillow. It's in a square, like a granny square, but it's going to be assembled this. So there's a pillowcase we could do. The other option, besides the pillow, we could do this ginormous shawl. I used 1, 2, 3, I think 4 balls of a DK weight yarn that I hand dyed, and then I used 3 micro skeins of color. Again, this is really easy. It's a 2-row repeat, and it just involves some color work. It's humongous. I still haven't even blocked it, so it should grow even more. But we have this that I could post a video of, or I could at least post it at some point. So let me know what you're thinking or what you'd like to see. All right, now is the last step where we're going to glue a pumpkin stem to the pumpkin. We 3D print these. My husband 3D prints them. I gave him the design. This is what we have. We have the small, the medium, and the large. I'm gonna use the medium for this pumpkin, but a small would look cute too. Ooh, do I wanna do a small? I don't know. I did a medium for this one, and I do really like it, but I kinda think the small one looks cute. I'm gonna do the small one today. Let's do the small one. All right, we're gonna do it. I'm going to use my E6000 Plus. Just gonna take that glue, put it on the bottom. That might have been excessive, but it's okay. And then we're gonna turn it around, put it in the center, and press down. You could do hot glue. I just don't like how stringy hot glue is, and if I were to like go sell these at a market and it got hot, sometimes hot glue can melt. And I've had just a really good time working with this or working with Gorilla Glue. So I'm gonna hold it down. I'm pressing pretty hard, but you could use a stick, you could use a cork, you could crochet a stem, you could use a cinnamon stick. There are many options, but if you do like the more realistic 3D printed stems, I have those in my shop available now. If you'd like to see other colors, let me know. We just did this color, and let me grab the black one. And there was this black one. I would have used this, but he printed the large one, so, but it would look interesting. Anyways, there we have it. Our cute little stem. And see, this is the difference. I made the same exact pattern, but I stuffed this one a little bit less than this one, and you can see how I was able to cinch it down more. So there's many options, many different things you can do. Make it your own. Decorate it. Add a ribbon. Add a leaf. Do what makes you happy. Anyways, thank you so much for making this with me. Happy making.